Hello everyone, my name is Rituro, and for the last time in Football Manager 2015, you can just call me Mr. Unemployable. As you saw in our last mega episode, sadly, we fell at the end of the DFB-Pokal 2-1 against Stuttgart. Not a bad result, all things considered. We had a phenomenal season, finishing, as you can see, in 6th place, top goals scored, top goal scorer in Nicholas Motz, and a massive pile of money. So, I can't complain. I really can't. A fantastic season. Can't say the same for Darmstadt, Karlsruhe, and Werder Bremen. Werder Bremen losing their relegation playoff against SC Paderborn, who come back into the Bundesliga. Hanover going up, 18-16 Munich going up, and Ingolstadt winning their playoff series against FC Augsburg. So there you go. Ingolstadt will go up to the Bundesliga. Augsburg will come down. Very surprising to see SC Paderborn pull that one out over Bremen. A very horrible season for Werder Bremen. As we mentioned, they were predicted to finish 7th. Instead, they suffer the ignominy of going all the way down to Drei Liga. Nuremberg, can't really say much about them either. 4th place prediction, 14th place finish. Not so good. But that's not just the preview, or I should say the summary we need to do here. We also need to talk about this squad. What a squad it was. Top goal scorer Motz, 32 and 39 across all competitions, shattering records left, right, and center, except the all-time record from, I believe, the 70s for Arminia Bielefeld, which might not be broken ever. Bianchi right behind him with 20 assists. Those were tops in the Bundesliga. Polak with 11 and 1. Pity that he had to get injured, but of course my top goal scorers get injured. Why wouldn't they be? Geets, 8 and 8. Wolf, 4 and 5. And spot contributions from elsewhere, up and down the pitch. Top ratings: Bianchi, Motz, Polak, Hansen with the one-off, bit of an outlier there. Ozcan, Copolaro, all in the 7 or better club. On their heels, Martin, Fischer, and Wolf with DeWitt, the loan option, looking pretty good. If only we could pull him in on a permanent basis. Sadly, it's not to be. Geets also pretty darn snazzy at 6.92. Gajdek at 6.91. Zanini at 6.9. Gajdek's been an interesting case. 39 appearances, conceding, 50 goals. So he could do better. Copolaro can't hold the defense together entirely by himself. But he did alright. So all in all, a good season and a good career for Mr. Unemployable. Now at long last, everybody, let's go back and relive the career of Mr. Unemployable. As you can see, 7 head coaching jobs, 3 national head coaching jobs. My longest time at a club, 1,680 days. Shortest time, 282. 4 awards, 6 million in earnings over my career. Pretty good. 204 players bought for 3.7 million. 27 players sold for 12.5 million. I love pinching those pennies, paying them peanuts. Why not? 5.25 paid for Polak. Good deal. 6.5 received from Mehmetovic. Good deal. On the whole, 616 games played, 245 won, 210 lost, 161 drawn, so better won than lost, thank goodness. And 872 for, 818 against, 54 differential. I will absolutely handle that. 3 cups won, a league won, 2 promotions, and 2 relegations. And let's go into a little bit more detail, shall we? We started off our career with Gjøvik Lyn in the 2nd division of Norway. I believe technically 3rd, but whatever. Stayed there for 2014 and 2015. Did not do very well at all. They definitely were glad to get rid of me. We're Gjøvik Lyn. As you can see, there we are. And things did not exactly get a heck of a lot better from there. They did actually manage to get promotion. Did Gjøvik Lyn well after I was gone. In 2020, they got promoted up to the Dekaligaen and went straight back down. They challenged. They looked pretty decent. Although 11th place finish this season, they will definitely not be happy with that. After Gjøvik Lyn, I moved on to Haverfordwest in the Welsh Premier League, trying to save them from relegation in their first season, while at the same time managing the Canadian U23s. Haverfordwest, of course, finished 11th and were relegated on the last day of the season. Kick in the teeth for sure. But Haverfordwest would eventually return. Despite being relegated, they would come back. And they would come back with a vengeance, even managing to finish 2nd in 2021-2022 before once again being a bottom feeder. So they had their brief moment in the sun. Great for them for going right back down. Canadian U23s, we all saw what happened with them in Canada as a whole. When I would eventually become the full team manager in 2021 after really screwing over Nigeria, but we'll get to that later. After Canada U23s and Haverfordwest was Glentoran FC. My first real successes with the Northern Irish club, picking up 2 cups in my first full season, the IFA Challenge Cup and the County Interim Shield, and that's really what we can call the high point of the career. 2016-2017 with Glentoran FC. Some of the players that I brought in are actually still at the club, which I find hilarious. After their nadir, though, and then I was brought in, they stayed about there. They stayed about in that area. They did actually get back up to 2nd last season. So good for them, returning to their old form. Looking at the players on this squad, it's actually quite funny. Look at these familiar names. Ronan Lennon, Reese Marshall, Danny McKee, Jamie McCraner. Gary Yule's still there. So it's still the pieces that I brought in are still more or less there. Good for me. But the one player we do have to talk about from Glentoran Football Club, who I brought in, the legendary Northern Irish New Gen, Colm Bell. Currently playing with Sligo Rovers. And he actually was a winner of the All-Ireland Cup in 2026 with the Rovers. Great for him. And I mean, 7.97 across all competitions. What a great job by Colm Bell. Currently 27 appearances for his national team at 27 years old. What a great career this kid had. And I was the one who brought him to his prominence. So you're welcome, Colm Bell. A success story for Mr. Unemployable. But Glentoran was not the only place. Mr. Unemployable plied his trade. After 4 seasons there, I let my contract expire and struck out to the Pershalia in Ukraine for Energia Nova. And it did not go well at all. I bankrupted the side, although I got my qualifications out of it. So hey, I got my continental license. All very well and good for me. Not so good for them. Though since that rather disastrous finish of 16th, they did manage to return every so often. They'd get relegated and come back up for finishing 13th last season and now 6th this year. Energia absolutely demolishing expectations. A good job by them. I can take no credit for anything that they've done whatsoever. If they did anything good, it was not because of any legacy thing that I left behind. That's for sure. I feel bad about bankrupting that country or that team, but it got me a job with Nigeria. While I waited for my next coaching gig, which would eventually become Grimsby Town, my legendary stay with Grimsby Town. But Nigeria was absolutely a country in trouble when I took over. I managed to restock the pool. Unfortunately, those kids did not develop fast enough to save my job, and they were bounced from both Cup of Nations and World Cup in my tenure. Not the best. You can see there was a slight dip in stature, coinciding with me finally being let go. Oh, it was not good times for Nigeria. In fact, this is actually only recent times. It was even lower before 2024. I can assure you, I did not leave that team in a good state. But I did help develop a lot of these people, bringing them out from the fringes, making half-decent players out of them. Ozoko's actually really done well for himself, hasn't he? That was Nigeria. And while I helped Nigeria, Grimsby Town would be soon to help me. They just made it out of the football conference up to League 2, and they wanted somebody to keep them up there. I didn't just keep them up there. I got them into 11th. Pretty darn good, if I do say so myself. Then, in 2021, 7th place and the John Stones Paint Trophy, a sensational trophy run. 5th the following year, and not only did we finish 5th, not only was a 5th place finish in League 2, that means a playoff, and we got promoted to League 1. At that time, Canada needed a manager. I was considered the front runner for the job, and I gladly and willingly took over for my birth country, taking Canada not exactly to glory, let's say, but I did manage them through a crisis of players leaving the program. I did bring us some, good Gold Cup results, but ultimately, I was let go, having crashed out of World Cup qualifying to the likes of Curacao as they hit their golden generation. But Grimsby Town, Jack Brimmer, still their key player. I brought him in. Ryan Carroll, the vice captain, I brought him in. Rodrigo Cunningham, the best player to come out of that academy in, I want to say, ever. And they're still looking pretty good. Currently 19th in League One, though, so without me at the helm, they nearly got relegated. Very nearly got relegated. Though it might not just be a loss of me at the helm. If we look at the players on this squad, there's no Tolga Ceylan. He left on a free at the end of his deal after I brought him in and effectively saved the offensive talent of this side. Andy Battersby is their striker. What happened to... Oh, wow. And their strike core went absolutely cold. That's not good. Absolutely not good. But as you can see, Pilkington... Oh, it's just horrible times for Grimsby. All my hard work undone. Not good at all. Still, I mentioned Tolga Ceylan. What a fine pickup he was. Currently making $12,000 a week with Mersin Idman Yurdu. Currently on 6.53 average across all competitions. So he might be over his head a little bit. Perhaps a little bit over his head. But I still developed him into something. Currently with $4.3 million on the open transfer market. Pity Grimsby had to let him go on a free once I left. Oh, Tolga Ceylan, we miss you so. But like I said, I left Grimsby after getting them promoted to League One because I wanted to promote myself. And no sooner had I left Grimsby than I was picked up by Bristol City. Joining them midway through, they'd left their head coach go, who I see has been let go again. They won the league and got promoted to the championship. My first time returning to the championship since Football Manager 2009, when it was still called Worldwide Soccer Manager on my side of the Atlantic. And, well, look, listen. It didn't exactly go well. I mean, yes, we finished 13th, which was not where they wanted us to finish. They wanted us to do a little bit better than that. I was not doing well at all, and I was sacked with judicious authority. Midway through the championship season, I was replaced by Tiernan Lynch, the man who replaced me at Glentoran, and did half decently with them. But as you can see, under Tiernan Lynch, Bristol are currently in 19th, and Tiernan Lynch is also gone. So, it's not like he did any better, though. Ooh, injuries to the strike core, that's certainly not going to help. 17-year-old Prodigy might have helped. Coyne, 11 goals in 33 appearances. He did his best. Ismail also showing up with 10 and 12 in 39, but it's not enough. Ultimately, Bristol languishing in the championship. Lynch could not make them any better. But as you've seen in these last few episodes, although I was fired by Canada, my final resting place was with Arminia Bielefeld, who were also looking for a little more security, having fired a coach and needing me to save them from relegation. I did that, getting them to 13th. And then in my final season, 6th place finish, a final with the DFB-Pokal, financial stability and security for years to come. You're very welcome. Not a bad unemployed career. To go from suffering in Norway to a respected coach in the Bundesliga, with the highest of highs being coaching in my country and coaching in the championship for the first time in 6 years. Pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. And as you can see, I even left the team looking pretty good for the future, bringing in some excellent prospects, both at defensive mid and at right wing back. So this team will be in a good state going forward. I hope you've enjoyed Mr. Unemployable, everybody. I've certainly enjoyed playing it. I didn't think I'd have this much fun, but 70 episodes later, it's time to say goodbye to Mr. Unemployable as we move on to FM 2016. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and I will hopefully see you there. My name is Rituro, and for the last time, you can call me Mr. Unemployable. Time to retire.